UFC 5 is one of my most anticipated upcoming games. On this channel, I usually talk about JRPGs or action-adventure games, but what a lot of you don't know is UFC 4 is probably one of my most played PlayStation games right now. I play a few rounds of Stand and Bang pretty much every day because I grew up with the Fight Night games, and as of right now, it's the closest resemblance to that. I've also been a massive MMA fan for a long time. Growing up in Canada, George St. Pierre is like a hero here. But UFC 4 has one major problem that I don't think will be fixed in UFC 5, and no, it's not the graphics. UFC 4 has a serious rage quitting problem. I bought this game right when it came out and actually took a hiatus from it for a few years because I was getting rage quit on in about 50% of my online games. After getting back into it somewhat recently and hoping the problem was fixed, I was super bummed out to find out literally nothing has been done. I couldn't comprehend why there is no punishment system, so I looked it up to see if I was the only one dealing with this. And to my surprise, there were more postings from people who rage quit than people who get rage quit on. Most of the posts I was seeing were along the lines of how to stop rage quitting, which blew my mind. Rage quitting is like having a bad temper tantrum, except the adult version. But the frustrating part is it's a temper tantrum over absolutely nothing. If a kid has a temper tantrum in a grocery store, it stems from them probably not wanting to be there in the first place. But no one is forcing you to play UFC. And though I consider myself decent at the game, I'm by no means great. So if you're rage quitting against someone like me, what the heck are you doing when you match up with someone who's actually really good? I can't imagine LeBron James just walking out in the middle of a game because he was losing. Oh, wait.
His team with the Phoenix Suns is, there goes LeBron walking off the floor.
A great example of how to properly deal with this issue is how it's handled in Rocket League. There's casual and competitive categories. In casual, if someone drops out mid-game, they are simply replaced with an NPC until they can find someone else to join. In competitive, if you leave the game, you are temporarily banned. Now, I do think the 5-minute ban is somewhat on the weaker side, but at least it mitigates the amount of people quitting mid-game. UFC doesn't have a casual mode. It's all ranked in a sense, but there's also likely way less kids playing it than there is Rocket League. The fact that there's no punishment system didn't make a lot of sense to me until I started noticing a trend. A majority of players who were rage quitting on me use created fighters with paid skins. This leads me to believe that something much worse might be going on. EA is right among the top of garbage greedy game publishers along with Activision Blizzard and Rockstar. Now this is just my observation and I could be completely wrong, but what if EA only chooses to do nothing about rage quitters because they've looked at the statistics and determined that the people who rage quit also tend to be the people who purchase microtransactions? Again, this is based off my own experience of being rage quit on well over 100 times, but I can tell you that it's most frequently by someone using a paid skin on a created fighter. I haven't played Call of Duty in quite a few years, but a few months ago I stumbled upon a video that I really couldn't believe. There's a YouTuber named Dis who showed proof that when you start doing well in Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone, the game basically punishes you, and your bullets won't hit the target no matter where you shoot. This is a perfect example of Activision Blizzard catering to the trash players, and my guess is it's likely because those trash players are the ones that spend the most money on the game. If Activision Blizzard is doing this type of thing, why would EA not do the same thing? They definitely don't have better business ethics. Though I mentioned two massive video game companies doing this, it can be seen in the real world too. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we all know what I'm talking about when I say financial incentives from large corporations have dictated a huge part of our lives for the past few years. Companies like EA are doing this, just on a much smaller and more, we'll say, harmless scale. The only thing I've been able to do to mitigate this issue in playing is using my created fighter with the sole purpose of trolling anyone who rage quits. I think there is a common ego shared among people who rage quit, and I found that if you call them out before the fight starts, they're less likely to do it because of embarrassment. For the record, I found this idea from someone on Reddit. I didn't come up with it myself, but it does seem to work pretty well. The only issue with it is sometimes I don't want to play as my created fighter. I just want to choose random and have a good fight. But when you beat up someone with Bilal remember the name Muhammad, they almost always rage quit before it registers. So that's my opinion on UFC 5. I think the graphics and animations look fine. They're not great, but they'll get the job done. But I do think the issue of rage quitting is a much bigger problem for the longevity of the game. And based off of the reasons I talked about in this video, I think it will be the exact same with no punishment system for rage quitters in UFC 5. I believe that the only real solution is to create a casual mode similar to Rocket League for low skill level players to play against other low skill level players. But I don't know how well that would translate to UFC. Anyways, if you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I do usually talk about RPGs here, but anytime there is a topic that I feel like needs coverage in gaming, I will discuss it. Let me know in the comments below if this is an issue that you have with UFC games and what you do to prevent it. And as always, take care and I'll see you in the next one.